Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Megajohn and today, we're going to cover the extra missions in the Stealth Training Arenas program. In this video, it's all about the first 5, the green extra missions. The guides are going to feel a little different compared to the stealth and alternative missions. I'll speed through each of these missions and chime in when I feel that there's something of note worth sharing. So without further ado, let's get into it. First thing you'll notice is M3G4 won't be at the beginning this time. Extra missions are more abstract, but also don't require as much context as your top priority is to make it to that spinny, flashy goal thing at the end. As you can see, I'm just going straight through the mission. It's more or less like a maze with just sentinels. These green-colored missions are of the easier variety, so we can see their vision cones still. This mission is themed around sentinels. It's a mostly linear level, but your path may vary somewhat when you're on the ground. Eventually, you'll find a ladder and climb up to the platforms and jump across. It's not hard to avoid enemies up here, but timing properly spaced jumps is what you're being tested on here. It doesn't take long to finish this mission. You're going to face a lot harder ones, I assure you. This mission is themed around the patroller enemy type, and the challenge here is to learn about timing your movement. They move slowly, so maneuvering around them isn't really a problem. The fact that this level is essentially a straight line certainly helps too. But if you're ever forced to stop dead in your tracks, you just have to make sure you wait in a safe spot before you move again. That'll usually happen with a ladder section toward the end. This mission has a much larger arena overall, and for good reason. It's themed around sniper enemies. Stationary enemies, not unlike sentinels. Spacing, traversal, and platforming are of higher importance this time around. Contrary to the previous extra missions, there's a little more freedom in terms of how you reach the end. You could go up either of the 2 ramps beside where you start. Once you're topside, you can drop down or carefully walk down the ramp. Another path you can take is to go along this thin wall and drop down in a safe spot and navigate toward the middle. You might notice this trend in terms of level design, but oftentimes you'll see branching paths that funnel into generally the same place. Sometimes this may happen more than once in any given mission. But anyway, navigate around these giant cubes and carefully walk around to the sniper on this side here. Slide on through this part and climb up the truss beam. Platform over here and time your jump so that you make it over this sniper's field of view. Hop over the thinner part since you're less likely to be seen that way. There's a group of snipers you'll have to go through, but that shouldn't prove to be an issue with proper spacing. Walk around or sidestep past the sniper and you'll come up to this ramp. You can jump down over this part and take the long way around to the other side. But more often than not, people will take the shorter path to reach the end. We may still be in the easier set of extra missions, but this one is probably the harder of the green ones. This mission is centered around the newest type of enemy which made their debut here, the Scouts. Nothing new if you played the alt missions or watched the previous video guides, but this is the first time the enemy type was implemented in STAP. As you can see, getting past these guys is a matter of waiting for the right opportunity and timing your movement. Here you'll really have to study their movement pattern. The middle section here is safe, and once you seize the opportunity to make it up to this platform, stand on this part. It's important to note that scouts will typically turn the same direction when moving to a new position. And in this spot, it is safe. After that, you'll see this long, narrow L-shaped part we need to cross. You'll notice that scout comes all the way over here sometimes. When you get his pattern down, you can use that to your advantage. I tend to wait before he turns the corner and shortcut by jumping over the angled turn and using the time I have to comfortably make it to this truss beam. Wait at this spot up here to be on the safe side, and when the opportunity presents itself, move up. Watch for the scout's movements before you proceed and make your way to the final ladder. This last scout doesn't stop and moves constantly, so your timing has to be on point in order to make it to the top. In this particular mission, you'll see every enemy type we've encountered thus far. Again, the path branches into 2. Either one you take works, I just prefer to use the path to the left. Jumping is still a decent way to make passing certain spaces much easier so your hurt box is reduced. The path to the right just involves some sidestepping shenanigans. Either way you go leads to these platforms with patrollers. Standard fare for STAP, just go around them to progress. The distance this initial scout goes is short and his intervals are fast. Just as he turns to move away from the left side, jump there and go to a safe spot. You can go around this way to the left, provided the path is clear of course. Or if you're feeling adventurous, you can take the path to the right, slip by this sentinel here, and climb up the beam. Wait for the scout to start walking away from your intended destination and capitalize on the opening to arrive on the square platform. This is a pretty straightforward platforming section that asks you to pay more attention to spacing and timing. The enemies here aren't really a threat if you're paying attention. The scout might catch you at this final section, but there's plenty of open space he doesn't check for you to wait if you aren't sure on when to go. But if you follow close behind as he rounds that far corner, you should be fine. Beyond the sentinel and sniper is another ladder. Spacing is a bit tighter in this platforming section, so move carefully. Stay close to these green edges and take advantage of openings to get past this part. The last real problem you'll have is that final scout at the bottom. Wait for him to get as close to you as possible. The moment he turns to walk away is the moment you can capitalize on the opening and pretty easily circumnavigate the sniper and the patroller since the former doesn't move and the latter is pretty slow. Admittedly, there isn't a lot in the way of Easter eggs regarding the extra missions in general, especially the green ones. The noob soldiers in the first 5 extra missions function as a blend between stealth and alt missions 2 and 4. Since you could see their vision cones and they have a sense of touch like mission 2, but they don't have names above their heads like in mission 4. As for this virtual reality aesthetic we have here, it's essentially similar in style to the hub areas for STAP, but the extra missions draw a lot of inspiration from the VR missions from Metal Gear Solid and somewhat from MGS2. You can see that especially with this polygonal goal marker at the end of each mission. All the music used in STAP are taken from various sources of which I have some sort of nostalgic connection to. Extra missions 1 through 15 use music from the DS versions of Transformers War for Cybertron. The tracks themselves and the intensity of said music will vary depending on the type of extra mission you're playing. Before I conclude this section of the video, I want to talk a bit about the scouts. Back when I made mission 4, I didn't know as much as I do now regarding game development. Hence why patrollers only move in circles. The scouts are what I wanted them to be originally, but even the creation of this enemy type had its hiccups. So shout out to my friend Royalto aka Lucy for helping me make the scouts possible. She helped me make swimming in STAP easier as well as helping me with Alt Mission 3's development. She actually cameoed in Alt Mission 5 and Stealth Mission 7. But that'll do it for extra missions 1 through 5. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoy the content I make. I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to try the game out for yourself. I'll see you all next time. All hail the M.